Hello and welcome to the Texas Tech Signing Day show presented by Old Trapper. I'm Robert Giovanetti, joined by Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire. Coach, what a week. You get a bowl win last Saturday.
Yeah.
Great signing class today.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, you know, with this December getting ready for the bowl and then also trying to keep up with all our high school guys and a couple of junior college guys, and it's gone well. It's an exciting time to be a Red Raider.
Hey, and when we look at the rankings, I don't know if you guys pay much attention to that. I know fans do. Class ranked top 20. You've got a lot of top 250 kids. It really is an accomplished signing class when you look up and down.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we felt like we met all of our needs, you know, and the one thing, you know, whenever I got here and took the job and, you know, talking to Kirby and the committee is really building this with the high school recruiting. I think we've been able to do that, and then over the next couple of days you're going to see that we did take some transfers, but you know, we signed 24 high school guys and one junior college guy, and that's how you've got to build a program. And this is a great class. I thought that we've come in and signed two really good classes. We got to see some exciting freshmen play in the bowl game. Amir Washington was incredible.
Right, he was, yeah.
And so now you're going to see guys like that have come in this class.
Hey, there's a theme to last year's class. We'll get to this year's class here. But it was speed, right? What would be a theme of this year's class? I
think length. You're going to see that with the O linemen that we signed, with the edge guys that we signed, and then athleticism. This group right here are very athletic, very explosive. I mean, they can still run. You know, we recruit speed, but I think you're going to see some real length in this class.
All right, you said it in Shreveport after the bowl when we play defense in West Texas. So we're going to start on the defensive side of the ball, and let's start with Adam Hill.
Yeah, you know, coming off a MVP, a lot of people were like, oh, so hold on. Adam won the offensive MVP in the state game, but he's going to be playing defense here. You know, running backs make great linebackers, and usually linebackers kind of do the same. Really excited about him. You know, he's a West Texas kid. He's very versatile. We're going to start him out at inside linebacker. But, you know, it's one of those deals. The way we recruit, it's always, hey, where could he help the team the best? And so wouldn't be surprised to see him run the football a little bit. But we got a guy coming back that does that really well, and so we're going to start him off on the defensive side.
All right, let's keep going on defense. How about Charles Anderson?
So we talked about length. Charles Anderson's 6'5½". He has got the body type of like Miles Cole, Tyree Wilson. He is a great edge rusher, very physical, and he's a guy that brings a lot to the defensive line. He'll be playing our our field defensive end. And the one thing that you've seen, CJIU is just an incredible guy that develops those outside linebackers, and so he's going to fit right in.
Talk about accolades. This guy had a lot, Cheta Ofili.
Cheta is one of those guys we talked about whenever you're talking about this class is ranked really high. He's our boundary backer. He reminds me a lot of Steve Linton, very explosive. He's got great length. I think he was top 100. You know, in the country. He's top 10 in the country at his position. And another guy that, you know, there's three of them coming in on the edge that are really physical players that can get after the quarterback.
Guy with some size, Edward Smith.
So Edward Smith, so you go Charles Anderson, 6'5½". Cheta is 6'4", and then Edward is 6'5½". Two of them coming from Pearland Dawson, a great program out of Houston. And he and Charles remind me of Miles and Tyree. Really great length. They've got great arm length, so they can really rush a tackle tight end. And they're just help building that edge. We're going to have another guy drafted this year off the edge in Miles Cole, and these are the guys that we're bringing in. So whenever we talk about length, and we're going to talk about the offensive side, but these guys are the length that I'm talking about.
You know, we mentioned this before we went on the air, but you didn't sign a defensive lineman. You said you signed an extra last year. You saw great depth on the defensive line already when you look at what happened in Shreveport, but no D lineman right now in this high school class. Yeah, no true defensive tackle. We've got some guys that could grow that way, but whenever you look at, you know, you signed Jaden Cofield, you signed Rigsby, you signed Trey Brown, and then you had some guys that could go inside or outside, and Ansel and Amir. I think Amir showed everybody he's going to stay on the edge. But
that we kind of oversigned that position last year because we felt good that there was really good depth, and so this year we were able to really concentrate on, I think, the edges and then the DBs because we signed an extra DB.
All right, let's go back to the secondary. Isaiah Boss Collins, that's a great
Boss.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he goes by Boss. So the announcers, whenever he's making all the tackles and interceptions, they'll be calling him Boss Collins. Love him and his versatility. As a junior, he played corner. That's what we're going to start him off as. He's got the size of like Malik Dunlap, who had a great career for us. But he also played safety this year, and so he's a guy that can play both. Both. He's coming in as mid-year, so he'll be here in January, going through the program and getting ready for spring football.
Out of Killeen, Malik Escara.
Man, a true safety. I think he's going to remind a lot of people of Rabbit. He's a guy that can really cover a lot of ground. He's longer. He's well over 6 foot. And Boss is the same. There goes that length again. So that's kind of the theme of this class. But he's a guy that can really get after to receivers and can intercept the ball.
Man, you guys really hit Pearland hard. You got another one, Ashton Hampton.
Ashton, yeah. So he's coming out of Pearland High. I love Ashton. He's a true corner. So you're going to have Boss and Ashton at corner. The other thing that Ashton can do, he's a great returner. He's had multiple games where he's returned punts for touchdowns. He had a big one in the first round of the playoffs. So you go back to the speed. He's a kid that's got really, good speed. And so ball hawk in the secondary and a physical corner.
All right, let's go to Oliver Miles now from El Campo.
So Oliver is kind of, you put him in the class last year, Wes Kitley's going to be fired up about him. He won the state track meet last year in the triple jump, going over 52 feet. That would have placed him last year in the Big 12 at the outdoor meet. So he's a guy that's going to be able to come in and do both. A versatile athlete. He's played quarterback for his team, he's played receiver, he's played running back, and he's played DB. We're going to start him off at corner, but don't be surprised. You could see him all over the field because he is an explosive athlete. Has got, and the thing with triple jumpers, they translate into really good DBs, and we track that, and we're really excited about Oliver.
All right, we'll stay in the secondary. Payton Morgan.
I think there's no player in the state that had more interceptions than Payton Morgan. He had 9 on the year. He's a guy that can play all 3 positions in our secondary as far as safety. We'll start him off as free at a free safety position. Really anxious to see him and Malik, how they grow, because we're really young at that safety position. We were able to play our freshmen this year in the secondary, and those are 2 guys that, wouldn't surprise me if they get some playing time next year as true freshmen.
We do not ever want to discount the importance of a deep snapper.
Right.
You got a really good one, Ryland Magana out of California.
#1 deep snapper in the country through Rivals and On3 and 247. A great athlete. I mean, he's a deep snapper, but he plays safety for his team, one of the best teams in the country. And we're fired up. Jackson still has another year. He'll be great. He's coming off, a knee injury, but he'll be back ready to go. But we don't want to pass up. When we have a chance to get the #1 guy in the country, we definitely want to do it.
So that's your defensive class from the high school side. You got to feel really good about, again, what we saw this season defensively, right, and now you're adding some great depth here. Yeah,
the thing about this class that we're signing, they're extremely athletic. They play a lot of positions, offensively and defensively. They're very physical. The DBs are guys that love contact. And then we were able to really go get some edge rushers. The one thing that we've always talked about is you're going to continue to see this team roster-wise grow, that we're going to look different, and once again, big people beat up little people. and from the DBs all the way to the edge rushers, there's guys that, have some legitimate size that can really get after some offenses.
Okay, 14 offensive guys signed today, including 1 JUCO. And let's start at the guy everyone wants to talk about, the quarterback, Will Hammond.
So Will Hammond, man, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. was right up there all year long with the most yardage in the nation. He had multiple games where he accounted for, he had one game where he accounted for 10 touchdowns.
Wow.
Had one game where he accounted for 8 touchdowns. They characterize him more as a pro-style quarterback. I wouldn't. I think he's more of a dual threat. He's got really good speed, and just a guy that from day one, from the time that he committed, he helped us put this class together. I don't know if there's been, in my short college tenure, been a guy that was more active in recruiting. I mean, he would literally on his off weeks go watch other people in this class play and his family, you know, to help us recruit.
That doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, it doesn't, man. He'll be here at mid-year. We'll get to see him in spring football, and just an incredible leader.
All right, let's go to the backfield. Cameron Dicki at running back.
We call him Captain America. And the thing that I love about Cam is, you know, his coach said, you know, Coach Hughes is our best football player, so I put him at quarterback because I wanted our best football player to touch the ball every single time. It's funny, we would have had him this year. Our game plan against BYU might have been a little bit different. We could have used him in the Wildcat and done some stuff like that because he has played quarterback. He's a kid that he's going to remind a lot of people of Taj Brooks. And I know that's high praise, but they're very similar because they're such great people that love the game and then play it the way it's supposed to be played.
All right, another running back, Tobie Williams.
So when you look at this class, there's guys that have played so many positions. So there was a fight on where he was going to play. Kenny Perry won it because he could play DB, he could play receiver, or he could play running back. For his team, he was playing running back, and his coach said, hey, I'm not getting him the ball enough. So midway through the season, they moved him to quarterback, and he took off. The team took off and made a great run in the playoffs. Versatile athlete, another guy that's a kickoff returner and a punt returner, one of the best in the country, and really excited about his versatility.
A lot of offensive linemen in this class. We'll start with Ellis Davis.
Ellis, so going to length, he's a true 6'7".
Yeah.
He's right now probably 280 plus pounds. He is going to remind a lot of people of some Mike Leach offensive linemen, to where he's got some really great length and he's mean. Ellis is one of those guys that he is just a great guy off the field, but he has got some nastiness on the field. And I love Ellis because he's one of the guys, he's a top 10 recruit in the nation when it comes to offensive tackles. And he stuck with us. You know, he was one of those guys that a lot of people came after throughout recruiting, and he was like, I'm committed to Texas Tech, you are wasting your time, and we're fired up to get him.
Stayed right here at home for the next one, Holton Hendricks.
Yeah, another guy, you're going to get some really, whenever I talk about big people beating up little people, you've got a guy that's, he's an interior lineman, he's got some really good size, but he's a guy, again, that is, when you turn on the film, I mean, he's a jerk whenever he plays. He's very physical. He is a guy that I'm really excited about because he's played all 5 positions. He's played right tackle, left tackle. He's played right guard, left guard, and he's played center. When he's played center for Coach Darden, it was because that was the best defensive player that on the other team, and he put his best offensive lineman on him. And so a guy that can do a lot for us.
They say this about all these guys, great size, but Jackson Hildebrand.
Yeah, Jackson is another guy that we were able to get to come to Tech. He'll be a mid-year, so we get to see him. Holton is a mid-year, so we get to get them in the weight room, get them on our training table, and get them to go through spring football. And he's a guy that can play guard or tackle, and so excited about his versatility.
Again, another Lubbock boy staying home, Kason Long.
Yeah, Kason Long, he's a mid-year. He's 6'5", plus. He's got great length. He's played offense and defense. One of Shallow-Water's finest, and fired up that we're getting another West Texas guy. West Texas guys are really tough, and we want to prove that we're going to recruit West Texas really hard. And so excited about Case, and he's one of those guys that has always got a smile on his face. He's going to bring a great attitude and a great work ethic in the locker rooms.
Another offensive lineman, Jacob Ponton.
Jacob will be here mid-year, so he'll be the left tackle. So our right tackle is 6'7" plus, and Ponton is 6'7" plus. So again, going back to true length in the offensive line. Another guy that was highly recruited. He plays for a great program in Dripping Springs, right outside the Austin area. Phenomenal family, and he'll be here mid-year, and that's what's so great. We got 3-4 of those guys coming in mid-year, getting offensive linemen in the weight room at the college level and getting them on the training table with Hannah, our dietitian. It just changes them. You've seen some guys that will play earlier whenever they're able to do that, but another guy, great young man, but kind of a jerk on the field.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, from Saddleback, Maurice Rodriguez.
Yeah, really fired up about him. He's a guy that's going to come in and make an instant impact. He's a guy that can play right or left tackle. We're expecting him to play left tackle. Highly recruited. We beat some really good programs out for this young man, and he's a guy that should come in and, everything's a competition with us. Of course, that's part of the brand, but he's a plug-and-play guy right off the bat.
And we've seen how effective a tight end can be in this offense. You've got Trey Jackson coming in.
Well, what I love about Trey is he's played outside receiver. He's very physical in the blocking game, but this year he played outside receiver, and they use him at tight end. But he's coming from an incredible program. He's played in 3 state championships, winning 2 or 3. He comes from South Dallas, from South Oak Cliff, and he brings an edge, and then he brings he's going to be a mid-year. He brings this competitiveness, but he's never been a part of any losing team, and so he expects to win, and that's going to be infused into the locker room.
All right, now we'll move over to the wideouts. Lorenzo Johnson.
I would say the #1 kick and punt returner, in my opinion, in the country. He's probably in his high school career had between 10 and 13 punt and kickoff touchdowns. I mean, he is electric. Another argument of where to go, Juice won that argument. He could play DB or he could play receiver. He is a slot receiver that is just explosive. He's going to be a mid-year, so everybody's going to get to see him in the spring. And, man, just a young man that absolutely loves playing football.
From Bryan, Texas, Tyson Turner.
Tyson Turner, guy that kind of fits in a little bit to last year's class. I mean, he's a true track guy, ran in the state track meet last year. He'll be here at mid-year. He's a true outside guy. He's got great length. And the other thing with him, man, he's like a 4.0 student. He's one of those guys that is going to bring a lot to the table.
Maybe there's an argument about this one, too. Chandler Meers, where he was going to play?
Yeah, Chandler is one of those guys to where he fits. He's coming from West Texas again, coming from a great program that won state last year, had a great run this year, can play safety or wide receiver. We're trying to kind of go back and forth with him, but we see him at wide receiver to start off. We want to make sure that, because he is a mid-year, so we're coming in the spring, and we want to make sure we have our numbers right, to go compete for some spots with the secondary numbers and the wide receiver numbers.
We'll finish up the class with a guy maybe a few people have heard of, Micah Hudson.
Yeah, so people are going to ask, who's at the high school level an instant impact. Micah Hudson is an instant impact. I've been doing this for 29 years, and very few times have I seen an athlete like this young man. And not only that, but such a good person and a dude that absolutely loves football. He will come in as the highest recruited player in Texas Tech history, and a lot like this class, we have had him committed for a long time. Most of these guys committed in June and stuck with us, and through good and bad, through a 1-3 start, and through all of that commitment, just through social media, just continually had our backs. And he's one that is probably, as much as anybody, him and Ellis Davis has had our back the most. But you got to compete, you got to win the job. But I'll be absolutely shocked whenever we lined up next year in game 1, and he is not playing major snaps and not a starter. One of the most polished receivers I've been around. And then again, you know, I went and watched him in a playoff game, and the very first play, he goes 85 yards for a touchdown as a kickoff returner. So it's going to be interesting what he does. You know, I think he's a punt returner or a kickoff returner, but really fired up about Micah's future.
You got a lot of options. Are just talking here about guys that might be able to help you on special teams.
Yeah, you know, that's the one thing that we look a lot at. You know, they gotta bring, especially whenever you're talking about skill players and linebackers, they got to bring some special teams value. And the one thing that you're always looking for, you know, whenever you're looking at kickoff returners, it's a little bit easier because it kind of relates. But you don't see a lot of great punters in high school, so guys don't have to field punts like coming off of Austin McNamara's foot, you know, just the height. And these guys that we're talking about, when we're talking about LJ, when we're talking about Jacoby, and we're talking about Micah, these guys, like, they have true ball skills that can translate into the punt return. And so excited to get those. Micah will be here mid-year. You know, he'll be ready to go. And, you know, some of these guys that are mid-year, they move in January 6th, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't move in before then.
You know, you and I talked about it on the field after the game against Cal in the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. Could have been very easy for this program, this team, to kind of tuck tail at 3 and 5. It's not what happened. And you can say this about this class too, right? A top-ranked class.
Right. These
guys stuck with you, and you got to like that of what they're going to bring to be part of what you're building here.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of look like I'm going to go back to my very first class, you know, and you think about the recruiting and what we've done. Joseph Adedire is, you know, a true sophomore, going to be a true junior. He's, you know, played and started from the day he stepped on campus. We just got through having the defensive freshman of the year in Ben Roberts, you know, and so you look at that. Then you turn around and you look at the next class, and those defensive guys that came in mid-year, they all played. Michael Dingle played 4 games. You know, John Curry played 4 games. We saw what Amir Washington did in the bowl game. Dylan Spencer, B.J. Jordan, Chapman Lewis, Jordan Sanford. And so you saw those classes and what they did, and, you know, that true freshman class that we just got through playing with, man, is one of the best, and it was a top 25 class. Then you turn around and you back it up with this class. I mean, I think that, you know, I just follow my personnel department's lead and my coach's lead. James Blanchard, our general manager, Brian Nance, Sean Kinney, Jake Pittman. The job that they're doing for identifying talent is the best in the country. The way our coaching staff is recruiting is the best in the country. And just think what happens whenever we get that south end zone and the Womble football facility completed. We already don't make an excuse on how we recruit, but just think of this next class that will be up next, of how we'll be able to do that. And I think we're building this roster the right way to where we're signing 24 high school kids, but we're also going to have somewhere between 8 and 10 transfers, and we got a junior college that are really going to make this team special.
So follow along on our social media to keep track of the transfers. We just walked the south end zone earlier. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Facilities are unbelievable. We just yesterday put our season tickets back out renewal. So you want to get your season tickets renewed. How important it's going to be to. We had 4 sellouts this year, and so pretty great atmosphere at Jones AT&T Stadium. So lots of good things happening.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, I know one thing I would say, and I'm glad you brought that up, because the one thing that I would say to all the fans is, you know, I know it was a disappointing year from the standpoint of where we thought we were going to be. It was a crazy year. I've never been through injuries like we have, and so some people were like, well, you know, you talked about this, coach, and you talked about this, and it didn't come true. I'm getting season tickets just to see the south end zone. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, when you're talking about how great Jones AT&T Stadium is and the game day atmosphere, when that thing's finished, you'll want to be in the stadium. When you're talking about 2 new video boards, soon, it's going to happen soon. We're going to get to see the double T scoreboard back up, which is going to be huge. The renovation of the Jumbotron, new sound system. And so I really feel like that we're going in the right direction. I think we can capitalize off of the bowl win. I think we can capitalize off of this signing class. But get those season tickets, because we absolutely need you. You know what an impact you make Jones AT&T Stadium is the toughest place to play. I think we've proven that the way we play at home. We've won a lot more than we've lost at home, and so we definitely need y'all to be a part of it.
Well, excited. Merry Christmas to you and Debbie and the family. Congratulations on the bowl win. Congratulations on this class, and hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Red Raiders. We appreciate y'all. Wreck 'em.
This has been your signing day show presented by Old Trapper. We're going to have some jerky now.